Hello everyone, this is Joseph Lucier here for our weekly Tongren session. For those of you that aren't familiar with our Tongren, we are doing distance healing, which is a thing done for thousands of years, basically sending energy to open a blockage. Our target is the central nervous system or the bioelectricity because we find that to be the most effective for helping to reverse serious conditions. So what we do each week, people that come, everybody gets a turn. You can put it in the chat here, or you can put it on our Facebook pages, or on my website, anusarwellness.com. Thank you very much, and thank you for joining, and I will begin right away. And we do our three-part process, just as I teach this method to others, because my goal is to get as many people doing it as possible. So, and here we go. So, interesting newbie is our first request. Please tap for insomnia, high blood pressure, nerve pain in left neck and shoulders. So everybody needs to understand that when we bring energy to an area, even with our mind, if we focus on an area, science has shown that it increases blood circulation to that area. So we do our three-part process, which is like, as I call it, a complete tune-up. Importantly, let me know how everybody's doing so that we can see your progress, because we know you're all going to do better indeed. Holidays are coming up, and I'm sure there's no stress going on out there, which is a great thing. Winter is here, no stress there. As I always tell people, if you live in New England, first Mark Twain, he said, if you don't like the weather in New England, wait a day. So I'm going to upgrade that to the weather in New England has 4 seasons a week. That makes it more understandable. Blood flow to the brain command points. Even activating amygdalin. So we're talking about insomnia, high blood pressure. So let's work on the Intang area, which is kind of the gateway to the crystal palace and the pineal gland. And then for high blood pressure, the medulla, which manages that area, GV17. GV17, medulla, high blood pressure maintenance. So blood flow, nerve flow down the spine to reduce nerve pain, the neck and shoulders, very specifically. Hope you can see my hands. I'll step back a little bit. Hopefully you can see my hands and hear me. GV17, GV21, shoulder release point, very powerful, so powerful. We don't do it for pregnant people because it brings the energy down, and that would do it prematurely. And we work on some special points I use in massage therapy, SI 14 and 15, because those are kind of like the grabbing point areas, right above the corner of the scapula. And we use the whole sky window, left side, right side. So chime in, say hello, and let me know how everybody's doing. And if it works for you, you can put in your name as some do. If not, that's okay. So we'll continue for interesting newbie and grounding to liver 3 and kidney 1. But additionally, for nerve pain, we want to loosen and liberate the nerves. And the two main areas, especially for the neck, brachial plexus. So we have blood flow, vertebral artery, nerve flow, brachial plexus. That's our mantra. Blood flow and nerve flow. And grounding to liver 3 and kidney 1. So again, welcome everyone. I think it's holiday time coming. People are quite busy. We do have a double Tesla boost tonight. This is a dual pack, 1 and 2. We know it's in there because it's magnetic, sort of. So this is a dual biohealer support for tonight. So let me know if you feel anything. We are going to have our test. There are 4. We're going to do, if this works for people, in 2024, a 4-week process. We're going to graduate, increase the biohealers, and see if people get reactions. Hopefully work to a good friend in California to do that. And we have Rachel, that for lung health, and of course, an end to the war. Everything we do should be from the heart of compassion to reduce suffering, our number one mission as living beings in this world. Reduce suffering, don't cause suffering, transform our own suffering. So next we have Happy Mama and Rachel. Send chi for perfect blood, lymph, and strong immune system, blessings and gratitude. So let's do it. And for Rachel, the lungs, and we will work on many lung areas. And here's a question for everyone. Does anybody know, possibly in Massachusetts, anybody specific that knows about indigenous people's food making? Indigenous people, plant-based foods or seasonal foods, or someone indigenous putting together some programs to support the communities. Blood flow to the brain. Brain command points. The answer is yes. Vertebral artery to spinal artery. C1 to C7. And for perfect blood, the bones and bone marrow. So there are 2 power points for the bones, T1 for the bones and bone marrow, and GB39 for the bone marrow. And we also work on the spleen because that's kind of a backup for the bone marrow. Bone marrow is an organ that creates blood cells, white blood cells, red blood cells, and platelets. And then spleen is kind of a backup for that. And oftentimes if the bone marrow is malfunctioning, then the spleen will get swollen. So we want to support T7 for the spleen. T7. And we have some people on Instagram. Woohoo! And I look a little dark there. See if I can make myself look a little more in the light. I froze on your end. Whoa. Froze. It is winter, but let's see. Froze. Can people see me? Check in. Connection okay. And Faris, we will work for you. I see you. Strong immune system. Am I still frozen, Rachel? Okay, temporary. Sharon, nice to see you back. Sometimes our transmissions fall between different dimensions of consciousness. So I think we're back and we are okay. Strong immune system. For Happy Mama. So, for Rachel, lungs. Let's work on T3, T2, T3, the bronchial areas and the lungs. T3. And then the power points for the lungs, L1, lung 1, lung 2 from the front. Also in the area of the lungs, the long thoracic nerve as well. And CV17, the lungs, the heart chakra, the diaphragm. Actually, we cover everything, and T6 for the diaphragm as well, for lungs and lung capacity. Instagram maybe taking a hit. And continue. Okay. And also we have Tongren, healthy lymph, hormones, emotional balancing, which we will do for everyone now. T3 for the lymph, as well as Happy Mama. T3 for the lungs and the lymph. T7 for the spleen. And we'll do a complete lymph tune-up for everyone for the lymph, which is the sky window for the lymph area, and then 4 major lymph nodes, axillary lymph, inguinal lymph, CV17 for the heart of compassion and to end all war, that which connects all of us together. And hello, Joanna, nice to see you. And grounding to liver 3 and kidney 1. So we covered all of that. Thank you for joining us, Rachel and everyone. Joanna, and for Laura and Tundrakil. Not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but that is for emotional support. So let's go blood flow to the brain, GB13, left side and right side. Calm mind for Laura, much abundance, connecting to our true selves, in Tong, third eye area. By the way, we have a Tao Te Ching, a book discussion, just an informal book discussion on Saturday from 2 to 4 in Canton. If you want to know about that, to join us, feel free. We're going to try to have one on the North Shore, then the South Shore. This one is a little bit south-ish. 2 to 4 this Saturday, December 16, would be great. Basically talking about ancient wisdom for modern practical use. But mostly it's just to get to hang out with a bunch of cool people and talk about great subjects. Much abundance, again, in Tong area, third eye. GB13 for calm mind. C1, C2, GB13 right side, and in Tong area for Laura. Liver 3 and kidney 1. So next we have Joanna and Caring Humanoid. That's a good one. Please tap for Bonnie's metastatic liver cancer and widespread pain. Tap for Tommy's prostate removal due to aggressive cancer. Alice's metastatic colon cancer, everyone's fear and anxiety. My condolences for these challenges that everybody has. Blood flow to the brain, but we'll get through it. Number 1 for cancer, SEACT. Go to my website and read about it, see testimonials. Number 2 for cancer is a pH adjustment or alkalizing through baking soda or advanced medical grade baking sodas, those types of things. Plant-based nutrition is really kind of a requirement because any animal products have chemicals that accelerate your cancer. Any animal products, fish, meat, chicken, have hormones, chemicals, toxins. They make your cancer go in the wrong direction and make it go faster. And Catherine, I don't see. Oh, yeah, Catherine, I have your requests in my notes. COVID and medulla as well. Let's load to the brain. Brain command points. And good news, always like to broadcast from Dorothy. Went to IMD today. Good news. Visits were expanded from 7 weeks to 8 weeks. We will tap for macular degeneration with both eyes plus cataracts. For cataracts, we see a few of those. The Cataracts Cure book and drops, eye drops. NAC is technically is what it is. Blood flow, nerve flow. Let's work on these all the cancers, which is oxygen first. phrenic nerve, T3 for the lungs, T6 for the diaphragm. More oxygen, less cancer, more oxygen, less inflammation, less disease. T1 to T8, anti-inflammation for pain, widespread pain. T9 for the liver, detox for everyone, but especially metastatic liver cancer. For metastases, biomats, castor oil packs, the SERT, as I mentioned as well. Lumbar 1 to 3, 1 to 5, prostate. Yep, and Joanna, you are next as well. Sacrum 1 to 5 for the bladder areas, for the prostate removal area. For Tommy, hang in there, Tommy, you're going to be fine. Leonard, we have a superhero with us tonight. Leonard is here. Where are you these days in Leonard? All is well. Glad to hear it. Metastatic colon cancer. Oh yes, for metastases, there are specific remedies from Europe, from Dr. Rath, micronutrients for preventing cancer spread. Dr. Rath. I can give you more information on that if you like. Colon, T11, T12, L4, L5, metastatic colon cancer. TB13, red side, fear and anxiety. TB789 for the amygdala and the fear, primordial fear. The limbic system of the amygdala. And grounding to liver 3 and kidney 1. So if anybody has any connections with First Nations people that may be strong in nutrition, let me know. There will be a place for them to support some indigenous groups throughout the country that I work with these days. If there are any indigenous people here tonight, let me know. So Joanne, tap for my mother-in-law who has spinal stenosis. Blood flow to the brain. And also work for Hester. Pain, knee, bladder, metabolism, and the newborn granddaughter, vocal cords. Local vocal cords. Yes, that's it. Got it. Yes, Leonard, did you catch the sea vegetable webinar? I just did. Got a lot of good reviews. Helped a lot of people. So yeah, I'm curious. I had a really good sea vegetable webinar because sea vegetables are so important, and I have a really good heart-centered source for that. So for pain and the spinal stenosis, T1 to T12. And we'll also work with stage 4 breast cancer. So the product DIM is critical for that. Broccoli sprouts for everyone with cancer. That is anti-cancer, sometimes as effective as chemo. So those are the things you can do if you really have a good understanding of what cancer is, which it is a condition of hypoxia or a lack of oxygen. T4 for the breast cancer primarily. But let's do again all the oxygen protocols for everyone with all the cancer. So that would be the phrenic nerve, lung, thoracic 2 and 3, bronchial areas and lung, and T6 for the diaphragm. Lung 1 and lung 2 again for people requesting for the lungs, like Rachel, CD17. So for any conditions with the heart, hawthornberry paste or hawthornberry tinctures or teas would be my recommendation. We just had a case study, anemia eliminated by doing the cleansing and eating plant-based. Anemic her whole life, now not anemic. T1 to T5, T5 for the heart, congestive heart failure. Anemia, T1 for the bones, and the spinal stenosis. Kidney, L2. Strengthen the kidneys, or blood flow, nerve flow, T7 for the kidneys, L2 for the kidneys. So you're going to be having aortic valve surgery, so that's T7 area right there. What is the reason for that specific surgery? Is it a blockage of some kind? Tap for all of the above, T5. And grounding. So let's continue with Esther for the pain, T1 to T8. Sacrum 1 to 5 for the bladder. Metabolism, GB30. GB20. C3, 4, and 5 for the newborn vocal cords. For breast cancer, definitely castor oil packs. There are companies that make customized breast cancer or breast castor oil packs. And a good option would be to use the castor oil and maybe some frankincense in there. And as I'm thinking this through, maybe even some mistletoe. if that ever comes in a tincture, which I'm sure it does, or an essential oil. That would be quite powerful. Grounding to liver 3 and kidney 1. Okay, so next we have Dorothy, Kim, and Deb. So let's do it for you guys. Good to see you here. Blood flow to the brain. Macular degeneration, wet both eyes, blood flow to the brain. And for the TBI, traumatic brain injury, 3 blood supplies. It's good for everyone, but the carotid artery of the sky window, vertebral artery of the corner, and the occipital artery. Bless me. Bless you. Also for Augustina, for blood flow, 3 blood flows, and for people for the GV17 medulla. So for traumatic brain injury, cover GV13 left side, right side, and the crystal palace, GV19, 20, 21, 22, which covers the hypothalamus, thalamus, pituitary, and pineal gland. We'll also do some cranial circle for you as well. And Alistair, welcome. I got the Happy Gums, I think it's called. Bone gums, or gum paste to work on receding gums, and for the health of the gums, it's an herbal paste like a toothpaste. Let's continue. Macular degeneration, GV17, C3, C4, ouch point for the eyes, and blood flow to the eyes, facial artery. Good to see you, Alistair. And next, Detox, T1 to T8, immune system, part 1, including the lungs at T3 and C3 for the sinuses, but especially T9 right side. Clay is your best friend for detoxing and binding. For the prostate issues, binding is good for everyone. It removes toxins. Clay is the best. So, Sandra, we're also working some more on the cataracts as well. For Alistair, Sandra, cataracts. ouch point on the eyes for the cataracts. Don't forget the book, The Cataract Cure. Very thin, cool little book. T9 for the lungs, and detoxing for Kim. Detox from the mold. T1, T8, anti-inflammation as well. T11, T12, the microbiome. T1, T8 for all infections. And then broken right foot. T7, right side. Blood flow, nerve flow, ouch point. That's our 3-part. I heard putting olive oil on your eyelids is a good thing. Also castor oil on your eyelids. Very small amounts on the outside. Organic, raw, cold pressed, fresh, bottled in glass. How does that work? Is it helping, Alistair? Do you have floaters as well? And continue on. And one more boost for the newborn grandchild for Esther. C3, 4, and 5. T1 to T8 for pain for Esther. Awesome. So there's a good tip. Olive oil on your eyelids. To use like a dropper. Let's pass that great tip around. Thanks for sharing. And more ouch points. Macular degeneration. Smear. Why not? I think you could do the same for the castor oil. Make sure it stays on the outside. But I'm glad it's helping. Organic, cold pressed olive oil, I presume, so that's great. And grounding to liver 3 and kidney 1. Do not use mouthwash because that creates cataracts. That's what Alistair is saying. Mouthwash may be poison. A good thing to do is coconut oil pulling. The mouth produces nitric oxide, and the mouthwash will get rid of the nitric oxide. Is that what you're saying? That's a good tip, because if you hold your breath, you get nitric oxide, which is basically a natural, that's good to know, a natural antiseptic. Great tip. How about oil pulling when you're doing oil and stuff like that? But those are great tips. Thank you, Alistair. And this work, we didn't do the right foot ouch point. So lumbosacral plexus, nerve flow, and right foot out. The broken right foot. I would definitely put a clay pack overnight on that broken right foot, clay poultice. So let's do some more cataracts, mouth, dental, bone, and gums, and cholesterol. And then also for Deb, we worked on TBI, again on right foot, the lumbosacral plexus, down the leg, right foot, blood flow to the brain, receding gums, that happy gums, I think it's called, a happy gum paste. Nature's gums, I think it's called. People need to know, let me know. I can look it up and send it to you. I use it. Still have all my teeth so far. C3, C4 for all the teeth, receding gums. C6, C7, thyroid balancing, calcium balancing. Forgetfulness, blood flow to the brain. Definitely some detoxing would be good. Clay would be excellent. But again, mouth, dental, C3, C4 for the mouth and the dental, pouch point on the jaw, C6, C7, calcium balancing for building bones, T1 for the bones. Cholesterol, T9, T10 as well. TB13 for mental confusion. And welcome, Kristen. And there we have someone on Instagram. Jen and Kev Yoga, welcome. So let's continue on. Tap for Kelly, blood flow to the brain. Some more eyes for the cataracts. So low blood platelets. So let's work for everybody for cranial sacral fluid, which is the bone marrow. Good for the bones, good for white blood counts, red blood counts, platelets, and immune support and pain. Cranial sacral fluid, the crystal palace. Bone stimulation device for piezoelectricity. Here's some good advice from Alistair. First, ice, compression, elevation, rest, ice, compression, elevation, bone stimulation device for broken right foot. Good advice. So, cranial sacral fluid from the crystal palace, down to T1 for the bone marrow, sacrum 1 to 5 for the turnaround point, and tailbone 1 to 4 to make sure there's no problem with tailbone adjustments. Working for that red blood platelets. If it continues, also T4 for the breast. If you have continued red blood platelet low counts, there is an herbal remedy ITP kit that I can also recommend for you. It naturally strengthens the bone marrow itself for anyone with any issues, anemia or low red blood platelet counts. C3, 4, and 5, hoping for success. The second attempt to reattach the retina. Still seeing shadows, which is better than seeing nothing. It does indicate that there is light getting in there. Pain from surgery, T1 to T8, also for Hester. But the pain is getting better for Kelly. C6, C7, thyroid. Sea vegetables, sea vegetables, sea vegetables. That will balance out your thyroid. C6, C7, and pituitary. The entire chain for the thyroid itself. Grounding to liver 3 and kidney 1. Some more requests for the bones. We worked on the bone marrow. So blood flow to the brain. tap for Les, who used to have cancer of the prostate and bone. Blood flow to the brain. Brain command points, brain stem command points, initialize, restart, reboot. T1 for the bones, GB39 for the bones. And L3 for the prostates. And T3 for the lymph, T7 for the lymph as well. And for Paula, hips and knees, T7 blood flow, nerve flow, hips, hip to hip, L4, L5, S1, and lumbosacral plexus for the nerve flow and the knees, GB bladder 54. Yep, welcome to Instagram. And grounding. Liver 3 and kidney 1. So please tap for me to quit coffee addiction. One of the ways to do it is, of course, to wean off of it slowly so you don't get so many headaches. Number 2 is to come up with a good replacement, such as mate tea. And number 3 is to make sure you take some mineral-dense foods like spirulina or chlorella so that the mineral craving that creates the addiction is also going down. So slowly, one day at a time. But we will work from a Tongren perspective, GB13, right side. Yin Tong, third eye area, connecting to your true self and your true desires. Connecting to your heart, CV17 as well. And hello, Esther. Yep, I got your requests. Got you covered. And grounding to liver 3 and kidney 1. And from Faris, please tap for your mom. Blurry vision, constipation. So let's work on that. And we'll work on you as well, Faris. Blood flow to the brain for both of you. GB13 right side, relaxation. Any tightness, start at the top. Blurry vision, processing area. GB19, visual cortex, both sides. And the eyes themselves, C3. Let's make sure we work. T1 to T8, anti-inflammation. And welcome Helia, Rocha, Pimentel. So mid chest area. So let's work on both sides. T6, T7, release from the back, and CV17, release from the front. So let's also work on the constipation. CV4, highly recommend the global healing remedy for constipation. Lumbosacral plexus. T11, T12, L4, L5 for the microbiome in the gut. Lumbar 1 to 5 also for the constipation. Hope that helps a lot. Nature's Smile is the product. That's it. That's the one for the gums. Yep. So blood flow to the brain. 3 blood supplies for Augustina, brainstem tumor. Carotid artery, vertebral artery, and occipital artery. And while we're here, we're going to work on left ear tinnitus for Helia, GB789, vestibular cochlear nerve, ouch point for the ears. And Kristen, we won't forget you. You are skin cancer. C3 for the ears as well. So for cancer, oxygen, phrenic nerve, T3 for lungs, T4 for the skin. So a great thing for skin cancer is from another indigenous nations person, 2 feathers, topical skin cancer. I use it for my mom, got rid of her skin cancer. That would be my recommendation. Brainstem tumor, GB17, major focus. The 3 blood supplies, and then GB17, and then the oxygen, phrenic nerve, and diaphragm. Two feathers, if you want to look that up or email me to get more information about that. It's basically black salve, Native American technique for skin cancers. You can call him directly if you like. I can give you his number. Tonsil, C6, C5, C6, C1 to C7, cervical spine for gleeful person. Is that helping the Nature's Smile, Deb? And the vagus nerve, GB12 for everyone. Parasympathetic nervous system control. So, is anybody feeling the biophotons for the night? We got a double batch grounding. There's some other good advice for skin cancers, along with the black salve techniques of the Native Americans. The ground garlic paste for skin cancer, and also Greek oregano tincture. Why Greek? That's different. Sounds great. And grounding to liver 3 and kidney 1. And wandering mind. Yes, she says she's only been using it a couple of weeks. I think it's going to take a good 2 to 3 months to really see any effects. So, and you can feel the energy flowing. Thank you, Deb. Yep, this is good. I want to be as effective as possible for everyone. Blood flow to the brain for wandering mind. Your vitamin D is very low. You got to get better vitamin D and B12. Those two. The best vitamin D works really well. Sublingual, of course. You need to get up to around 35. You need to double that. You need to double your B12 as well. The Global Healing products are advanced for both of these. globalhealing.com. Blood flow, nerve flow, vertebral artery to the spinal artery. Homer's bone, I know about the Homer's, not very friendly. Homer's bone and the mid shaft. Let's work on the left directly. So on things like that, comfrey poultices, symphytum homeopathy, Cissus quadrangularis for bone building, and silica for bone building, and clay poultices as well to mineralize. And the muscles, so T1 to T12. For the muscle atrophy, castor oil to increase circulation. Microbiome for increased absorption. You need to double your vitamin D. You should do a cleanse to increase your digestion, absorption, elimination, your colon cleanse, which I can guide you through. But at least increase your vitamin D intake. You need to double your vitamin D levels. And grounding to liver 3 and kidney 1. Okay, for MB, fast recovery and detox of meds, gallbladder surgery, rashes or pimples. Okay, blood flow to the brain. GV 19, 20, 21, 22. GV20 for growth hormone as well for regeneration. Detox, clay baths, clay foot soaks, clay poultices are the best detoxes that I can think of. Gallbladder, blood flow, nerve flow, T10. Detoxing, you have rashes and pimples because your skin and your liver are not detoxing enough, and it shows up on the skin as a side effect because the skin and the liver work together to detox. Rashes or pimples are clear signs of that, so definitely clay baths, clay foot soaks, clay poultices. rashes or pimples on the tongue. So definitely swish with salt water. So where do we get Greek oregano tinctures? Any recommendations? Eyelid springs, let's work on the ouch point for those areas. And C3 for those areas. More water for wandering mind, is that it? Yes, more water for better absorption, digestion, absorption, elimination in between meals. T1 to T8 for detox. And rheumatoid arthritis, both elbows. Zane Ellis online. Indigestion, so the microbiome, T11, T12, clay, and especially aloe vera is good for indigestion. Balancing sugar, healthy cholesterol, good for all of that. But we will work on gallbladder, bile ducts, liver for the cholesterol. And for grief, that's also lungs. T3 for the lungs, lung 1, lung 2 for the lungs. And grounding to liver 3 and kidney 1. So he's recommending Zane Ellis online and eschew fructose. So let's do a little qigong for everyone. Charge the battery, CV4. And thank you, everyone. Rachel and everyone. Have a great night. Let's do the clearing tones. Sandra as well. Keep up the good work. Let me know if you have any questions on what we worked on today. This recording will be on the internet forever. Thanks very much, and have a good night. Blessings to everyone. Be kind to one another, and take care. Thank you.